Hi everybody, this is luckyDminor with another episode of Player Chess Free for All. And I'm having just played a pretty interesting game with Rafa, Drum Daddy, and Dark Muchuelo. I'm supposedly the highest rated player in this game, but honestly, I haven't played within 8 weeks, basically, just only a few games, but not much. And I'm pretty much out of my flow. So let's see how I did in this game. So I opened with the king's pawn, and blue is preparing fianchetto and possibly attacking me from the left side. Yellow is preparing fianchetto. Green comes with the knight, and I play my knight in order to stop any knight threats from there. Okay, blues are marching on with his bishop's pawn. Fianchetto by yellow. And okay, green is threatening to attack my knight in the next move. So I just bring some protection there. Okay, blue's marching on for promotion. Yellow is just developing his position. Green is developing his position. And I bring a pawn in order to stop the blue pawn if needed. Okay, the blue pawn marches on. Castling by yellow. And fianchetto by green. So I protect the king's diagonal with my pawn. And blue marches on, I have to stop him. Yellow preparing for another fianchetto. The blue rook might be in danger. And I stop the blue pawn. Blue's fianchettoing first, so now yellow has to protect. And he does with the knight. Okay, green develops on his queen side. And I block the bishop's diagonal here. Blue's doing the same thing over there. And yellow's starting to push his pawn in the center. Okay, green further developing on his queen side. I'm slowly developing my bishop. And blue is bringing a second pawn, possibly to promote on this file. Okay, green further developing. I bring my queen just in order to have an attack on the king once I move this pawn. Blue marches on. Yellow can possibly stop him. And green brings his king into safety. This is a pretty stable pawn formation here. Well, I could of course attack him, but that would bring my own king into unsafety. So I move my pawn, just also with an idea in the next step to possibly attack that pawn or to march on. Of course, now I have my queen and my king attacked by the bishop. That was not smart by me. If green wants, green can now have a free kick on my king side. he doesn't do, I'm lucky in this case. So I block the bishop's diagonal with my pawn. Okay, blue marches on, will possibly be stopped by yellow. And green also pushes a pawn in the center. So I move on. I'm pretty happy with this forward pawn structure here. I can always decide whether I want to take here or when I want to move on. Blue's developing. And yellow's bringing his knight over, opening a bishop's diagonal. No immediate threat for green. And I have to watch my king because of that bishop's diagonal here. So I block that diagonal with my knight, also protect my pawn here, and have possible attacks with my knight on this field. Okay, blue is attacking my pawn structure here. If I take, blue will take, and my whole shield starts to crumble. This pawn will be weak. Okay, so yellow's just pushing a pawn, green is pushing, and I'm making small move. Actually, I didn't see that this pawn is not protected. The bishop could now take, and I would be in big trouble. My idea was here, if blue takes the pawn, then this double pawn is a real good protection for myself. His queen, his bishops will never be able to attack here, and the pawn will not be able to move forward because of that pawn. But actually I didn't see that that pawn was not protected. Let's see what blue does. Well, I'm very happy about that. So now I can move my pawn, and we have an even stronger shield here. So I cannot easily be attacked from the left side. Okay, brings his rook away from the bishop's diagonal here. And green is moving on. And I'm blocking the pawn structure. Okay, he's moving over, attacking my pawn here. Now again, I have to make a decision. Do I want to take here? Do I want to move forward? I would possibly move forward. Let's see what the other players are doing. Yellow has a quite nice pawn structure now, being ready for promotions if needed. But of course, green is having kind of the same thing and blocking him there. Green brings his knight forward, opens the diagonal. Have to watch for my knight and also the rook. So I lock down this position. I'm quite happy about that. Blue bringing the next pawn. And yellow developing a knight. Okay, whereas green pulling his knight back. Seems like everyone is a little hesitant to attack here. We have around like 20 moves already made and no point collected. So I protect my bishop and threaten later attacks possibly on that rook. and more pawns coming into the center. Yellow is trying to block it off with green, and green does not take en passant. And I'm moving another pawn, opening a line for my queen here. Okay, have to watch that diagonal here, but the pawn seems to be well defended. And yellow possibly preparing a push here. Green moves around with his knight, is waiting. And I bring my rook over where it is protected from the knight and where it protects the pawn. And also blue is defending his position even further. Okay, yellow brings out his queen. Possible checks here. And I have to watch. No, those fields are protected by myself. So it seems to be okay. I move over my king in order to avoid any checks from the bishop. And also in order to even further protect that pawn. Queen moves over, this pawn is protected twice. And yellow's moving over, possibly attacking blue at some point. Green moves the rook. And I also move my rook where it's protected from the knight and where it protects the bishop. So far, everything was positioning. And here is the first attack on my position. So I do not really want to take that pawn, because then my king's position would be very weak here. Of course, I do not want to lose my knight, so I'm considering to maneuver my knight over there. And I have a triple attack on that pawn, and even further created king safety here, and also I have an attack with my bishop over there. So that's my idea here, and that's what I'm doing. But I did not watch, so you will possibly have already seen it. So here's a double attack on my king's pawn, and it's only one time protected. And once blue attacks me, green could possibly join his attack. So far there was no item taken, no points collected. Pretty interesting tight game, but here big mistake on my side, weakening my king safety and possibly losing the game. So blue is taken. Does yellow have something to support me? Well, he could throw in a check by sacrificing his bishop. Could possibly move on and try to steal a queen here. What is he doing? Yeah, he tries the pawn move. And what is green doing? So of course green could just take here. Could possibly retake. But then I would also lose my rook. could bring his knight over, threatening the fork on my queen and rook. So many possibilities. He just takes the pawn, direct attack. And in this case, I was thinking I cannot, of course, take the bishop. I could move away my rook, but then this bishop would always watch my king and threaten a mate at some point. Also, this bishop could just move here, and then the queen can come here to mate. So I was thinking best thing I can do here is to take that bishop. And of course, blue is taking the rook, threatening next mate and next move. And yellow can create a queen. I would not take the queen because I'm his opposite, but also I have other problems to solve here. And green is threatening the yellow queen. And also possibly preparing to promote. So I just take that pawn there. Didn't see the mate actually during the game. So I am done, or not. Blue doesn't see it either. So lucky me in this case. So he's just attacking my queen. And of course, green might do another step on my items. Yellow's bringing his queen back into safety. And green is checking me, so I lose my queen. I can only move away. Blue's taking the queen, giving another check. Yellow is slowly, possibly attacking the green side, but not really helping me. Luckily, green, well, oh, he is helping me. He's attacking the green queen. So, no, it wouldn't be mate. So he just goes away. Okay, and I can take the blue bishop. So very early in the game now, I mean, it's not very early, but early after the fighting began, I've lost my queen, I've lost the pawn, I've lost the rook. So let's see how I can recover from that. Okay, blue brings over a bishop, possibly threatening on this diagonal. Yellow protecting his knight. And green putting another check on me. I just move aside. So I'm hoping with my king that I can have a pretty safe harbor here behind this big and clumsy pawn structure. And that then I can somehow survive this game for a longer while until the other players have also lost some of their items. So blue moves the rook, don't know why. Yellow brings his queen over, possibly at some point attacking there. If, I don't know, not sure. Okay, and green is coming with his knight. Well, not really threatening something here. Quite okay with that, especially since now that pawn file is also blocked. So I move my king. This knight is attacking here, but Unless the bishop comes over there, there's no threat. Okay, yellow possibly preparing the attack on blue here. Green making slow defensive moves. I'm okay with that. I'm just bringing over my rook a little. And blue possibly preparing at some point to push that pawn. And yellow really attacking blue. Green possibly preparing a queening. So can I support yellow at this point? Of course, I want to support my opposite, especially since I'm already so weak. I could take that pawn. It's a free pawn. I could then also later attack that pawn, which now is still protected. But actually, my bishop is not really a big threat for blue there. And by doing so, I would open up my king safety, my king structure here. I do not really want to do that. So I just move my rook over, protect my items here a little better. And blue is not double attacking my pawn. That's good for me. Well, it is double protected also. Yellow is stopping green from promotions. And yellow and green pawn structure seems to block each other. So I just make kind of waiting moves. I'm planning to bring my knight over, possibly here. Okay, and here now, blue is starting the attack on yellow. He's attacking to the left side, which is not always the best idea. Green is not really in the position to support his attack either. So it looks like he's just losing his knight here in exchange. And really weakening his king structure, because after knight takes, this pawn is weak. Well, still protected 2 times, but I don't like that move from blue. So yellow is taking as expected. But maybe that would have happened anyway with the 2 knights. If the knight would not take, well, I don't know. I wouldn't have taken the knight. Anyway, he did. Okay. Here's a possible attack on yellow, possible checks. I bring over my knight. And blue brings a second knight to protect his king. Oh, and now yellow is sacrificing a bishop. He figures that if the pawn takes, the blue king is so weak, would possibly get all kinds of checks here. With 2 queens close by, with the bishop coming for support. So yellow thinks he can really win over blue here. Green tries to take the chance to promote his queen. And I'm just bringing forward my knight. I'm thinking if blue's getting into further trouble, I can start taking. So blue's taking the bishop. yellow is taking the green queen. That's good. Green still wants to promote. And I just wait and protect my position. Okay. Blue brings his king behind his pawn into some safety against checks on that line. And he also protects his remaining pawn. Yellow moves on, threatens to take here and possibly mating blue very fast. I could, of course, take the yellow queen, but in this situation I see yellow as my strongest partner, and as long as he is attacking blue and green, I will not break the friendship. Okay, green is sacrificing his bishop in order to rescue blue. So I'm playing slow here. I could have possibly already started to take items from blue here. I didn't want to weaken my king safety. And here blue attacks the two queens since yellow is under check. Well, I should have possibly attacked blue here. Yellow is taking the bishop. And green is making another slow move. So green is obviously not attacking blue. They are also kind of teaming. I bring over my second knight in order to possibly throw further attacks on blue once the timing is right. And oh, blue is not taking the 1-point queen. He's taking the rook. Not sure if that is a good idea. Especially since that queen is still threatening attacks here. But maybe he thinks at some point I would take it. So he's taking the rook. And yellow is taking the bishop. So yellow is fully trusting in my friendship. And green is just making waiting moves over there. So at this point, even though I lost already so much material, the team play between yellow and red is much better, I believe, than between blue and green. Maybe because blue and green are both kind of same strengths, and blue already has a lot of points, and green doesn't even want to help blue too much. Okay, now yellow brings his queen into safety, possibly starts attacking blue's position here. His two queens. Also threatening to take that pawn, of course, or to stop the promotion. Even though green protects the pawn from behind. I bring over my bishop. I have the idea at some point possibly to push that pawn to attack that bishop or the queen behind that. And I'm still making waiting moves here. Okay. Blue further tries to strengthen his king's position, but also threatens a fort on king and queen there. Yellow possibly didn't see it. He threatens to take that queen or offers an exchange of the queens. But of course, if blue would check, then yellow cannot take and may get into trouble. Green is making another slow move, but threatening to queen there. And I found this was the time where I needed to attack blue, because the threat from blue here and the tension between those queens, possible checks from yellow, all were telling me now is the time. So I just take that protected pawn. I'm pretty sure that blue will not take my knight. And blue is checking yellow. Yellow moves the king. And green creates another queen. So now blue has still to move his queen in order to not lose it. So I can do possibly the next attack. Could possibly have taken here. Many eyes watching that field, so I was too scared doing that. So I just moved over and try to threaten attacks for blue jointly with yellow. Okay, yellow loses his queen, and that's interesting. I mean, yes, yellow loses the queen, but blue may also lose his queen. So let's see. Yeah, that's what's happening. So pretty good for me. But green is keeping his queen and giving a check. That's pretty dangerous for yellow, since now his queen may be lost here. Let's see what blue does. So I just take that pawn. I'm pretty sure, since there are so many eyes on that field, no one will take the knight. And also I'm hoping once I move back with my knight that then somehow green and blue may attack each other. So blue is attacking the yellow queen, sacrificing his knight. Well, yellow does not take the knight, possibly to avoid further checks. Otherwise he would be maybe even in deeper trouble. So green is protecting the blue knight now. And I can move away. I give blue a chance to take from green if he fancies. Also, I'm protecting the yellow queen. But yellow hopefully would just take that rook. No, blue's first move, so blue takes the queen and I can win the rook, possibly. And yellow is giving a check. So would green have a chance to mate here? No, not at this point. So what's green doing? Oh, he's giving a check on me. He sacks his queen. Well, he doesn't really sack it because it's protected by the pawn, and blue will not take it. So yeah, smart move by green. sudden attack on my king. And I have to move. Blue has to move. And yellow takes the knight. This point, I would have possibly left that knight standing there and gave another check with my bishop, forcing the, well, not really forcing the king in the corner. Well, rook would just step in between. No, queen would take. So I would possibly have made the check with the bishop here instead of just taking the knight and risking another check from green. Well, he took the knight and he got another check from green. So I could take the rook. I'm also threatening the queen, but most likely I will of course not take it. Blue marches on with his pawn, but I can possibly take it. And yellow steps in between with his bishop and threatens the green queen, which is also attacked, but maybe not really by the blue rook. So I could of course now take the queen here, but since yellow and I are a good team, okay, and green is attacking yellow, I'm taking the blue pawn instead. And blue's marching on, threatening to, well, take my knight, get a queen, but I can retake. But what is yellow doing here? So I didn't take his queen several times. He's fighting with blue. He's under attack by green. I've never attacked him. I'm showing him I'm his partner. And now while blue is preparing to queen, he's giving a check on my king. So I think that kind of was, besides my own mistakes, one of the biggest mistakes here in the game. I don't really understand. Was he thinking that he was mating me? He's not. Okay, so he's under check. I have to move my king. Blue takes my knight and takes the queen. Yellow rook steps in between, attacks the green queen, and the green queen takes another pawn of yellow's. And I'm taking the blue queen. And now blue starts to attack green. That's also interesting. I mean, yes, the rook was possibly endangered, but it could have just stepped aside. So at this point, I'm thinking, what's going on here? So yellow is betraying the partnership with me. Blue is betraying the partnership with green. Blue has 38 points, but green is kind of the strongest player on the board. So maybe blue just wanted to collect some points, but that was only, well, yeah, some points. Maybe he thought he can secure like second place or something. And what's yellow doing now? He takes another pawn from blue, but sacrificing his queen for my bishop. Was it only a mouse slip and he does want to continue teaming with me? But why is he taking that pawn? It's kind of no value. He could have checked blue or did something. Okay, and green is taking the blue rook. And at this point, I'm thinking, well, since blue is of no danger anymore, and since I want to at least get to 38 points to not become fourth, I was thinking I'd take the 9 points. And yellow and I are still strong enough to fight against green together, but I didn't want to become last. And since I was not sure anymore if yellow would not mate me, as soon as he got the chance, I took his queen. Now yellow is again attacking blue, but without his queen, there's no real strength in that attack. And green is taking from me. Well, my items are protected except that pawn. I just grab another pawn and bring my bishop back into the game. And yellow throws another kind of useless check on blue. And I lose my knight. Yeah, I didn't watch that knight. Should have brought that knight into safety. I rearrange my bishop in order to protect that pawn. Blue cannot do much, and yellow brings his knight back for king safety. So now I have a double attack on that rook. Need to protect and do so with my bishop. Blue's moving around. Yellow is somehow protecting my pawn another time. Green is playing it slow. And I figured I can possibly move that pawn with the help of yellow. Yellow stays on that file, and green stops me from promotion. So I start to push another pawn, and at this point I even think about possibly winning the game if I can promote queens here. Somehow I might have a chance. So another useless check on blue. Green brings over the rook. And I continue my march of the pawns. Also bring my final pawn in protection from that bishop. Okay, and here the rook leaves my pawn alone. Threatens to take that knight, but if the queen takes, the knight is defended. But he doesn't take, possibly didn't see that, but blocks my pawn from marching on. But also in this moment he blocks his own queen, protecting that field. So I can really queen. Okay, and here I am also thinking about possibilities to mate blue. All fields protected. Okay, yellow attacks the green knight. Also kind of protects my pawn again. Okay, green is moving backward, taking it carefully. And I can really make blue. So now I have 50 points. I'm not strong enough to fight against green, but I have a very good chance, since green only has 13 points, of somehow winning this game. Okay, and yellow is sacrificing his rook for the knight. Possibly he thinks that since yellow only has 13 points and he has a good chance to become second if he supports me. So I move aside with my queen in order to have that pawn free for marching. And yellow is sacrificing another item. Getting checked. Of course, at this point, I'm taking a look whether I could mate yellow, but there are, no, not that one. Still fields for his king to move to. So I just march my pawn. And here green decides to attack me. And this is a little early for me here. That bishop is not protected. Okay. So I just move up my king. So actually, I think yellow's sacrifices were a little premature. He didn't even reach the 38 points, and he has not much left to win that points. And now green is pretty much free to attack me. So I try to block that queen from taking my pawn if I would promote. But my king's safety is weak now, and green has many items around to check me again and again, possibly. So I move aside. I was thinking green cannot check me from here, but I missed that field. So I have to block the attack, since that queen is protecting this diagonal. Only safe field otherwise would be here for my king. And now the rook takes my pawn and sacrifice itself, but it's not really a sacrifice, because if I take, then queen takes, and my king safety is, well, I would possibly even be mated. I didn't see the immediate mate there. So maybe this was another mistake now. I should have possibly just moved on with my pawn and created a queen here. That knight is pinned. That queen wouldn't take because I could retake. So I would lose my queen, but then I could retake. So I should have possibly just queened here. But I took the rook, lost my bishop, and got mated. So I'm still above in points, but of course green will also mate yellow, and then green will win and I will be second. So I could possibly in the end have done better, but honestly I'm pretty happy that after my early losses in the beginning, I kept my position strong. I kept the strong team play with yellow, and I was able to become second here. So interesting game, long game. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.